Hello and welcome to our video. The topic of this video is gonna be about Visual Games, a company developer of video games from EA, and about a recent notice that happened to them, and about a new game that's gonna come from that company.
In 1998, Electronic Arts (EA) moved from San Mateo, California to a new corporate headquarters building that they had constructed in Redwood Shores, California. In this move, they founded a studio at this location named EA Redwood Shores, which operate under the general EA Games divisions. Since in 1999, EA Redwood Shores serves as a support studio with Electronic Arts, supporting games like James Bond, expansion of the scene. However, the studio go to the green light to develop a complete independent title from the studio called Dead Space. Dead Space was a critical success, leading the studio to revamp to Visual Games in 2009. Along with this studio was moved over from EA Games and became its own division under EA, being the first genre studio within the company, with a focus of developing third-person action games in the same veins as The Space. On its release in 2010, Dante's Inferno received mixed reviews and studio sequence returned to Dead Space, with the sequel Dead Space 2 released in 2011. The sequel has similar critical success. Visceral continued working on the next title, Dead Space 3, which they wanted to make in the same vein as the first title, though the game still had general positive on its release in 2013. It sold for a less than Dead Space 2, following Dead Space 3 that will still value the franchise. Visceral was not working on a fourth title and instead had been assigned to new projects.
Okay, just with that, with what all of my friends just mentioned, sadly, Visual Games was closed down in 2017, and that there were several reasons why that company got shut down by EA. Supposedly by our financial director, Blake Jorgensen, there were several reasons why it was shut down. One of the reasons is that slowly but surely, the company was slowly losing developers, only maintaining 80 developers in 2017. Apart from that, they were trying to talk about a new project of a Star Wars game that never come to light. This is because that Star Wars Visual Games mentioned, and I quote, that that game was going to another course that EA was planning, making that game more online. That made the publicity of the game to just go in an instance, and with that consequence, made the game that never came out. So a lot of the people waiting for that game was very upset for those reasons. And the last reason of why Visual Game was shut down was pure economical. That company couldn't sustain; it wasn't sustainable anymore, and sadly, EA had to do the tough decision of just shutting down EA, making around 80 developers to go to different areas in EA, and that actually made EA to develop better games. For example, the recent game that they come out about Star Wars, the Fallen Order. That game was a successful hit and was a game that most of the people that were expecting from the Star Wars game to came out. Now this about Visual Games personally for me was very upsetting because I grew up with some games of Visual Game. For example, the franchise of Dead Space, the GoldenEye 007, and other games that came out. And sadly, the moment they told me that they were going to close Visual Games, that kind of just shook me because I was expecting in those years to get a new game about Dead Space. But now, thanks to EA, just mentioned that they're gonna remaster Dead Space 1 for the new Xbox and new PlayStation. So a lot of people are waiting for EA to just keep us updated about that game, and they have been keeping that update. But they're gonna give us a better explanation around January to February of 2022.